everyone, this is Veronica with Sew It Seams, and welcome back to my studio. Today I'd like to do a little update on just what's going on in the studio, the projects that I'm working on, things that I have mentioned in the past, just where I am on those, and just a couple of things that are done or near completion. Today's going to be kind of touching on a few different things also, not just on sewing. But first, let's start with the quilting. Now, a few months ago, I talked about a temperature quilt and showing you what I was doing when I was making it, how I was making it, the patterns, everything like that. It is not done, but it is getting close to done, and I wanted to show you where we are on that. And in order to show you, I'm going to have to back up a little bit. And I haven't pressed my last month yet. What I have, here we go, you can see the top of it. I have January through November attached. I haven't pressed November down, so I'll kind of hold it out. But here we have it. I decided, here, let me show you the whole thing and then I will talk about it. So I'm gonna slowly go up so you can get an idea. There you go. Okay, that's the temperature quilt and where I am in this process. This is January over here and going through November. Each of the blocks represents the high temperature and the low temperature of each day for the entire year of 2021. So it's been going together really well, and I really like the look of it, sewing all the rows together. And I just have one more month to add on. I have to add on December. And then, as you can see, you could see the border fabric that I'm going to be using right here in the bottom, where the months don't all equal up to 31. I've got this gray, whoops, and so this gray fabric is what is going to be the border all the way around. I am also going to be making a legend along probably one of the sides with each of the colors and just the temperature range, and I'm going to embroider the temperature range on each of the colors so that you have kind of an idea of what these different colors all represent. So I'm excited to get this one done. I have had to put it aside and put it on the back burner as I work on other things. Mostly with my business, it has gotten busy again, so I am spending a lot more time having to do the paying work, and so the fun stuff gets put to the side just a little bit. But I'm not completely eradicating the fun projects because that helps to keep me sane. Okay, my next project that I wanted to show you is nearly done. I'm not completely done with it, but on my quilting forum, Quilting Around the World, that's an online forum, they are having a swap that I joined, and it's I think it's called Wool Surprise Swap, meaning that we're making wool projects. It's a wool, it could be a mug rug or a candle mat or a wall hanging, but it's a smaller size, and then we'll be swapping the finished projects out. So I'm so excited. I love this little project. I had a pattern that I had downloaded, it was a couple years ago, and it was a month by month. Not even a month by month. I think it was every week they were releasing a different pattern for making wool and applique with some stitches. So I chose one of those, and here is this little project. Isn't it so cute? Look at that little gnome. I'm just so thrilled with this. And I really took my time with the stitching on this too. This stitch here is basically just a blanket stitch, but I don't remember the name that was given it, but it's something like rosettes and thorns. But basically it's a blanket stitch, but elongated in between these sections and then variegating how long the stitches are. So this was a fun stitch. You can see where this was the beginning of it. You can see it's not quite as even and consistent as the rest of it. Let's see what else. I did French knots on these little things here. It's a blanket hole or blanket stitch or buttonhole stitch. They're interchangeable. They're the same thing, but I have that stitch around the little spots on the toadstool, around his hat, around his outfit. And then this is just a running stitch with, I tried to do a satin stitch with a leaf. Didn't work quite as well as what I had hoped, but it's good enough. And then I think this is called the lazy daisy stitch to make the flower. And then this might be a feather stitch, but I don't know. And then just doing some whip stitchings. So this one was just a lot of fun. I went slow and I took my time to just create this overall pattern. Really happy with that. Now I have to get a backing on there, and that's where I'm just waiting a couple of days because I'm not exactly sure if I want to do something else that will show or just get a backing to seal this off. The backing will just be a square of wool to hide all those stitches. So that was a really fun project to work on and makes me want to do more, but I have to stop on doing that kind of stuff so I can get caught up on some business first. Drink break. My next project is one that I found after going through a lot of things in my studio. When I renovated the studio, I knew that the garage had a ton of stuff that I just hadn't been able to get to, and I completely forgot about this project. Actually, no, I didn't forget about it. I remembered it and started contacting the creator of it because I wanted to make it again, but I couldn't find my project. I found it. This is a hand embroidery, and it's from, I didn't have a color printer at the time, so it's just black and white, but it's called Give Thanks, and it's created by, where is it? Oh, Jenny Elephants. And she is from Australia, I believe, and does a lot of hand embroidery designs and patterns. And this design came out in 2011, and she released it on her blog, and I copied all of the patterns as they were being released, and then it got stored away in my garage. Now that I have the studio finished, I was able to start going through a lot of different projects, and I found my blocks that I had made. Now, a couple of these, in fact, several of them were not actually finished. I just had them drawn out. But this Give Thanks is an interchangeable thing. So I'm going to show you real quick. The idea is that we have, this is the main background, and then I have each of these different blocks that I can change out that hang up right here. So I can change them out seasonally, monthly, but I'm just going to show you briefly. So it's just real simple little embroidery, and it's basically give thanks and a list of different things to give thanks for, and then a little Bible verse reference that goes along with that. So giving thanks for autumn, for a peaceful sleep, for shelter in the storm, for the beauty of creation. It's backwards when I'm looking at it in my camera, so I have to keep looking at it. For those who love us, for family, and the one I am just finishing up, I still have to do the words on there, but it's for spring. And for each of these, I don't use a hoop when I'm doing the embroidery because I've put some fusible. That one's not, I can't, here we go. This one's coming up a little bit, but I've just had some fusible stabilizer that is just put on the back of this so that it gives it that firmness so that I can do hand stitching. It's already been cut pretty much to size. I think the directions, I trim it just a little bit more and then I'll be finishing it off. But this is a fun little project and it doesn't take much to finish off one of these. I do have, I think, 3 more patterns that I need to draft onto the basic muslin fabric and put stabilizer. Since I did this so long ago, the muslin that I used, it is a little bit different color than the muslin I have on hand. So, excuse me. So I need to look to see if it's close enough where it won't bother me, or if I need to take these to the store and find something that's close enough. So this is my ongoing hand embroidery project, and I'm excited to be able to get working on that and hopefully have that done pretty soon. But once again, since work is so busy, I have to kind of pick and choose what I can work on. Is that all the sewing I wanted to talk about? It is. I did have one project that I did finish and I wanted to show a picture of it or show you, but I've already gifted it. It was my wool project. It was a block of the month that we did at my quilting forum called In the Garden. And hopefully I can get a picture up here to show you. But this I already gifted, and so I don't have access to it right now. But this one was a lot of fun to make. It was tedious to make some of the blocks just because I was struggling with getting the pieces to fit just right. I didn't really take the time and wasn't careful with the patterns when I traced and redrew them. But that project was done. It really turned out really well. I'm really happy with that one. All right, let's go to yarn. First, I want to show you something that I finished just recently, and I love it. First, it is this Band of Butterflies hat. This was at the time a free pattern by Expression Fiber Arts. I don't know if it's still free or not, but I got it for free. And it has these butterfly kind of knitting. I don't know if it shows in the pattern. The pattern has this little detail, which is creating kind of a butterfly illusion. I don't think mine shows up too well, but here is my hat. It's like a beret or a tam. So I just pop that on, and then I'll just give a little turn. I love this little hat. The yarn I use for this hat is Shawl in a Cake by Lion Brand. And I love the sparklies in it. And the colors are really nice. It's the blue, a little bit of teal kind of color, and then into in the pink family. I'm not sure what that color would be. Maybe like a dust, not quite a mauve, a dusty, I don't know. Colors are not coming to me today. But anyway, this is the finished hat. And then the butterfly detailings are supposed to be right up here. I don't really see them too well, but I like the hat. It's a great one for when I'm having a bad hair day. That's usually when I wear my hats. And it's a lighter one, so it doesn't have to be like a wool winter cap. I have a couple others that I like, but they definitely lean more toward a fall or winter feel. This one, partly because it's sparkly and with the blue and the pink colors, can be worn anytime. And I've worn it a few times. I really like it. So you can see. You can kind of see what tried to be. I struggled with holding the floating yarns loose enough. So it kind of bunched up and made, and there is a bobble stitch here. So it bunched up a little bit more, but I still like it. I like how it turned out, and I do wear it. My next project is one that I'm in process. And for Christmas, I was given a Tunisian crochet hook set that's interchangeable. So it has these hooks of different sizes. I think this is the biggest one. It is J10 or a 6mm hook. And then it has these cables that you can remove and interchange. A different size. I think there's 4 different sizes, and then you can extend it. So this I need to extend. But I wanted to try Tunisian crochet, and I love doing it. And this is the process that we're in so far. I should have looked it up. This is a pattern. It's free on the website for TYL yarn. TYL? I think so. But this is a shawl pattern, and I think it's called the honeycomb shawl because this is a honeycomb Tunisian stitch, and this is along the edge border. And so this is the shawl, and I don't know how many stitches are on here. I have to do quite a few more rows of this. And this pattern will then be repeated on a final band going down. Okay. So sorry, I kind of was flinging that all around. Back up a little bit so you can kind of see where it is. So it's a really pretty yarn, but it's some yarn. I think I bought it at Grocery Outlet, a local grocery store here, and it's just mixed fiber yarn. But they were 99 cents, and I had 3 skeins of it. I don't think there's going to be enough because this is my last skein. The material, it says polyester acrylic. I don't know the percentages. And it just says mixed yarn assorted. So who knows? But it's a nice soft feel. It's real squishy, and it'll probably pill like nothing else. But it's just fun. I wanted something to be able to practice doing Tunisian crochet, and this was a good yarn, just using up the stuff in the stash. If you look behind me, this row here, that shelf, from Raggedy Ann on over here is all yarn. And much of it is single skeins, and a lot of it is stuff that was given to us or that I found pretty cheap at a store. So not the best yarn, but gives me something to play with and do. Another drink break. That is all I wanted to share with in regards to any of the fiber arts with my sewing and my yarn. One thing I wanted to do is just share with you what I'm doing in book club. I have 2 book clubs that I'm part of, and I thought it would be fun to kind of share a little bit just what I'm reading and where I am and how I enjoy it so far. I'm looking down at my notes because one book is an audiobook. I just started listening to it yesterday, I believe, and it's called Cinder by Marissa Meyer. I was really intrigued by this book idea. Is taking the story, the old fairy tale story of Cinderella, and kind of turning it on its head. Cinder is set, I don't know what year it would be, but it's kind of a futuristic, steampunk, almost post-apocalyptic type of world. And Cinder is actually a cyborg. I haven't gotten into it. I think I'm still in chapter 1 listening to it, but there's going to be some kind of intergalactic battle. There are, I don't think there's zombie-like creatures, but they're not zombies. And then we have cyborgs and human, and it sounded very interesting. I do like a good sci-fi, so I'm excited to listen to more of it and basically read it with my ears. I love being able to do that because then I can do work in my studio or in the house, going for a walk, and then I can listen to a book while I'm doing it, and it's engaging. So I will let you know that's my fantasy book that I'm reading right now, and I'm enjoying that. That one is not for a book club. That is just for me personally. I am part of 2 book clubs, but right now with one of them, I'm in between books, so I haven't started the next one yet. But with one of the clubs, we are reading The Great Influenza by John M. Barrie. I am, as you can see, not very far. I think I am on chapter 2. Let's see, I just changed. Yes, I just started chapter 2. This is going to be covering the Great Influenza that happened in was 1918 to 1920. And the tagline on here is the story of the deadliest pandemic in history. So we felt in our book club that was kind of appropriate right now as we came off of another pandemic, and just kind of comparing the two just a little bit with numbers and such. He's a good author, but I think I'm going to be doing a lot of skimming. One of the downsides with reading more of a historical book for me is that I find it gets bogged down in a lot of detail that doesn't interest me. He spent probably 4 pages in the first chapter toward the end going through the scientific method, comparing it to religion, and just the process, kind of touching on theology and just things that let me just tell me the details of the event and what happened there. So I will be doing probably some skimming just to get to the part that interest me more, but getting bogged down in a lot of people, a lot of scientists, and how they got to where they are or what they believed and what they thought is a little much. And that's probably why this book is so thick. But I'm going to read it. I may not read every word, but we've got, how many pages is this? Well, we've got a lot of footnotes on the back here. This is 461 pages. So I will do my best. I will let you know, and maybe it'll surprise me. Maybe it'll get exciting and I won't be able to skim because I'll be so drawn in. But as of right now, there are some parts where I don't need to go into all the theory and the practice of science. Just tell me what was happening. So that's my book club right now. All right. I am looking around and I think I've covered everything that I wanted to for today. If you have any questions, you can always comment below and ask me a question or send me an email at soitseemscreations@outlook.com. It's time now for me to clean up in the studio and get back to work. And I hope you have a fantastic day. I'm Veronica Johnson with Sew It Seems. And remember, keep stitching.